What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the show. Welcome back to another episode of Seahawks Now, your home for all things daily Seahawks news, updates, rumors. Today, we discuss Trey Hendrickson, the latest on Trey Hendrickson, and why one outlet is not expecting the Seahawks to trade for Trey Hendrickson, despite more updates that might actually indicate that we could. Plus, we talk about the underdog elements to Sam Darnold after hearing yet another team that reportedly passed on him in the offseason, why I think that this is going to help Sam Darnold grow as a quarterback in 2025. And finally, the Seahawks are struggling to sign their second round picks from the 2025 draft. We'll talk about why that is and how I think these deals will eventually come to be. All that and more right here today on Seahawks Now. But first, make sure if you like this video, hit that red button down below, subscribe to the channel, it really helps us out. And as always, comment down below. I want to hear what you have to say. Do you think the Seahawks will make a trade for Trey Hendrickson, or do you think they should? I want to hear your thoughts, so let me know down below. And without further ado, let's get into it. So Trey Hendrickson, obviously, we've been talking about for about a month and a half now. He's been looking for a new contract with the Cincinnati Bengals. We know this, right? I'm just going to repeat the story. Just in case you're new here, Trey Hendrickson wants a new contract. Bengals have offered him about $28 million. Hendrickson wants more like $35 million, maybe $36, and he deserves it, because he leads the NFL in sacks over the past 2 seasons with 35 sacks. He's averaging 1 sack per game. Nobody else has done that over the past 2 years. He is 31 years old. He has 1 year left on his current deal, and he's currently holding out from the Bengals. He has apparently resumed contract discussions, but everything we're hearing is saying that they're nowhere near a deal. They're nowhere closer than they were previously to a deal. They are still right now trying to hammer out all the details. And it sounds like until that happens, he's not going to play for them. There is a possibility of a trade. I think that at this point, you have to say it. You have to say it how it is. There's a possibility of a trade, because at some point, like, if they don't get that contract done, he's either going to hold out or they're going to have to trade him to a team that will pay him. Personally, I think the Seahawks should. We've heard a lot of people talk about this as well. Just last week, Daniel Jeremiah went on 710 Sports and basically said he thinks the Seahawks need to pursue him. And I agree, because he's a really good player. He makes your pass rush go from good to elite in an instant, right? You're adding, easy 10 sacks, hopefully more. That's going to improve the pass rush significantly. So, yeah, I'm all for Trey Hendrickson. I think he would be a fantastic fit here. At the same time, I understand he's expensive, and I understand that if you trade for him, you do have to extend him, right? The trade actually wouldn't be all that expensive, right? You're probably only trading maybe a second round pick, maybe a second and a fourth, something like that. You actually don't have to give up very much for him because he's on the last year of his deal, because he's an expensive player. The actual expensive part is that you have to extend him, because if you trade for him and then you don't extend him, you know what he's going to do? He's going to hold out, just like he's holding out with the Bengals. So the trade is, obviously, it comes with paying him, and it commits probably what? If you're going to extend him, let's say you give him a 4-year extension, that's probably about $160-ish million when it's all said and done. That's a lot of money. The Seahawks actually do have quite a bit of cap space. They have $31 million of cap space, but Seahawks Wire does not think that this trade is going to happen. And unfortunately, yeah, I guess I kind of see what they're saying. They do admit, obviously Jeremiah said that we should 100% go for him. We do have probably the funds. Yeah, I mean, John Schneider, I think they do right. They say he has the financial flexibility to make a serious inquiry, though the Bengals would expect elite draft picks in exchange for the star pass rusher. As enticing as the possibility sounds, the Seahawks have young pass rushers on their roster who will also be due lucrative extensions in the coming off seasons. Schneider reset the roster this offseason in a manner that would make acquiring a 29-year-old Hendrickson a confusing move. Ultimately, expect the Bengals to get Hendrickson signed to an extension. So I'm not necessarily sure. I mean, Justin Mello wrote this for Seahawks Wire. It's a pretty short article. Doesn't really have a whole lot of substance to it, to be honest. I mean, he does say, I do agree with him. On the one hand, yes, he's right. We are going to have to pay some of these younger pass rushers coming up. We have to pay Boye Mafe at some point. If Derek Hall continues to grow at the rate that he has, we're going to have to pay him as well. So that makes sense what he's saying. But at the same time, Trey Hendrickson is better than Boye Mafe. He's better than Derek Hall. And even though he's older, he's better than those players. He's better than DeMarcus Lawrence, who we just committed $15 million to over the next 3 years. So when I look at the way the roster is built, I do see what his point is. Yes, we have quite a few younger pass rushers. At the same time, I would rather pay Trey Hendrickson and let a guy like Boye Mafe reach free agency than the opposite around, because Trey Hendrickson is better than Boye. Plus, you get the benefit of you get 2 years with Trey and Boye Mafe. You get 3 years with Trey and Derek Hall, right? Or something like that. So the idea that, we can't afford to pay Trey Hendrickson because we have to pay these other inferior players in the future, to me, that's a flawed mindset, right? If you have the opportunity to get one of the best players in the league, you have to take that opportunity. It's as simple as that. And Trey Hendrickson is one of those guys. He's one of those 8 guys who I believe are game-changing guys. It's Trey Hendrickson, TJ Watt, Micah Parsons, Chris Jones, Nick Bosa, Myles Garrett. That is the group he's in. Max Crosby's in there. It's a very small group. It's a group that, in my opinion, if you have a guy like that, they can legitimately change the game on its face because they generate so much pressure. They make the opposing quarterback uncomfortable, and it gives you such an element that most of these teams do not have. We haven't had that in a long time in Seattle. We've been looking for that guy. And so, yeah, if you can get Trey Hendrickson, absolutely you get him and you pay him. And then if you have to sacrifice Derek Hall's extension 2 years down the line, then that's fine. Because ultimately, I think Trey Hendrickson is a better player than Derek Hall. And I think even in 3 years, when Trey Hendrickson is 33 years old, I still think he'll be better than Derek Hall because that's the type of player that he is. And I love Derek Hall. I'm not trying to slight Derek Hall. I just don't see Derek Hall getting to the place where Trey Hendrickson is at. Like, Derek Hall had 8 sacks last year, and that was a huge win. Trey Hendrickson had 17. So, yeah, the idea that, we have to save our money for a future extension of guys who are not as good, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with Seahawks Wire here. But let's move on to another story about Sam Darnold. The Raiders reportedly passed on Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold because of Tom Brady. This is an interesting story, and I think it really reveals that, yes, there's definitely a chip on Sam Darnold's shoulder. The Seahawks' pursuit of Darnold snuck up on many NFL observers, apparently. This is according to Michael Silver of The Athletic. He said some believed the Las Vegas Raiders would try to sign Darnold, but minority owner Tom Brady, 7-time Super Bowl winning quarterback whose opinion held great sway, was not in favor of that approach, according to a source familiar with the franchise's internal discussions. Apparently, he felt that Smith was an upgrade over Darnold. He thought that Geno Smith would be better. And apparently the Seahawks kind of panicked, according to Silver. I don't know if this is true. Seahawks signed Darnold panicking after they traded Smith. Not sure if I love this. This was published by NinerNoise.com. It's a 49ers site, so they're obviously going to make it feel like the Seahawks are panicking. Personally, I don't know about this because at the end of the day, Tom Brady, is he a great executive? I don't know. He just went into this job like a couple of years ago. The fact that he was willing to hire Pete Carroll, I think, says a lot of interesting things about him because Pete Carroll was kind of washed. So I don't know. I mean, maybe Pete Carroll and Geno Smith are going to turn things around in Las Vegas and have a revival of their careers. And honestly, I'll root for them if it happens. I like Pete Carroll. I like Geno Smith. At the same time, personally, what I saw out of Pete Carroll in his last couple years in Seattle is a coach that the game had passed him by. Like, he just felt older and slower, and the defense looked outdated, and that's just how it felt. And the same thing with Geno Smith. Last year, watching him play, it just felt like he was just beginning to get a little too slow, a little too rusty. And so to me, I look at it and say, these are an older quarterback and an older head coach, and I don't know if it's going to work in Las Vegas. And I really think it's interesting that Tom Brady clearly is backing them. I prefer the younger Sam Darnold over the veteran Geno Smith, who did have a pretty rough year last year. And I also prefer the younger head coach, Mike McDonald, over Pete Carroll. So if Pete and Geno prove me wrong, if they go out and have a lot of success over there in Las Vegas, then again, I'll root for them. Like, I'll root for them in the playoffs. I hope they beat the Chiefs. I don't like the Chiefs, but at the same time, I just don't see it happening. I think the Raiders are probably going to be about a 6 or 7 win team next year, which is about what their Seahawks would have probably been at as well if they kept Geno Smith around and kept Pete Carroll around. So personally, I disagree with this. Let's move on to the last story of the day. The Seahawks are apparently struggling to sign their 2025 second round picks. This is a story that it's kind of unfortunate. It's not really our fault, but apparently after the Cleveland Browns and Houston Texans, they both gave their first pick of the second round a fully guaranteed contract, right? So that would be the number 33 pick and the number 34 pick. They both got fully guaranteed, which has never been done before. Normally, only first rounders get those picks guaranteed. So the Seahawks, obviously, they traded up. They drafted the number 35 overall pick, safety Nick Emenwari. And apparently, Nick Emenwari also wants his contract fully guaranteed. And all power to him. I mean, I get why. He's like, well, the 34 guys picked right before me get guaranteed. Why don't I get it guaranteed? And he's probably right about that. I mean, the logic is sound. I get it. He doesn't want to be the last guy who doesn't get the fully guaranteed contract, so I might as well hope for it. Albert Breer says the second round contract kerfuffle is interesting. The 33rd and 34th picks obviously got fully guaranteed. That was, by the way, Jaden Higgins for the Houston Texans and Carson Schwessinger for the Cleveland Browns. So he says, quote, obviously now the 35th pick, Seahawks safety Nick Emenwari and his agent want a fully guaranteed deal. Since Cleveland gave Schwessinger one, I'd imagine the Browns pick at number 36, running back Quinshon Judkins, wants one too, and so on and so forth. Breer didn't touch on why Elijah Arroyo is also holding off from signing, but he probably also wants to wait and see what other of these second-round picks are going to get. Because, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's probably these players, what they're hoping for is they want this to kind of turn into a domino effect, right? Where, I mean, if number 34 gets it, then now let's give it to number 35, and now let's give it to 36, and then number 37 wants it. And at the end of the day, almost every second-round pick is going to get a fully guaranteed contract. At least that's what they're hoping for. On the other hand, the teams are probably hoping for not that. They're probably hoping that none of this is going to... They're probably hoping that only those two from the Cleveland and Houston are going to get those fully guaranteed. Because obviously, teams don't want to give out more money than they have to. And again, this is an unprecedented thing. This never happened before. Honestly, they're probably mad at Houston and Cleveland for kind of setting the bar so high. Because now, you're right, the Seahawks, now that the bar's been set, the Seahawks kind of do have to jump there and meet Emenwari where he's at. I don't know where it's going to happen. I do think that Emenwari and Elijah Arroyo will both sign their contracts. I don't think this is a situation where we're going to, lose any sort of production from them. At the same time, this deal does have to get done pretty soon, so I hope that the Seahawks are vigilant in getting it done. Well, guys, that's going to wrap things up for today. As always, if you like this video, leave a like, subscribe down below for more content, hit the bell for notifications, and until next time, as always, go Seahawks.